episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! This is a podcast based on a blog of the same name because it's a super name for a super podcast, of course. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out the blog at couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, How to Get Away with Murder, Gotham, Once Upon a Time, Supernatural, and Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for The 100, Doctor Who, The Originals, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, and the Marvel's Defenders panel will return to discuss the Defenders crossover miniseries. A final visit, I promise it's coming, with our Vampire Diaries panel to say goodbye to the long-running series in a two-part episode. A final episode discussing Broadchurch to say goodbye to the mystery drama from across the pond. We'll be launching new panels covering Lemony Snicket's Unfortunate Events, Grace and Frankie, and The Good Place. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels, Friends. What's more, CPU is going live again! We've been planning some live events, as I've repeatedly been alluding to in these introductions, and we're super excited about them. We already went live on Facebook, live from the bunker that is, when our Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt panel talks Season 3. Our 100th episode recorded live at Comedy Outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we also have a special live event coming up this weekend on October 21st, when we return to Grand Rapids Comic Con to launch our Battle for the Stars, Star Trek versus Star Wars in the ultimate space debate. We also have more live appearances and other cool stuff being planned, so make sure you like us at our Facebook page, our Twitter, follow us at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we're always seeking new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, career-developing, non-planet invading feedback. That will make sense in a minute, trust me. Today, we're around the water cooler and continuing another of CPU's podcast series. This series does not have a fixed number of episodes like other series we do. Rather, it is ongoing and covers a growing number of shows, at least growing up until this year, that seem to increasingly fall under one large umbrella, expanding into a well-made, quite popular universe of comic book adaptations as the interest in those adaptations grows. With that said, today's episode is part 8 of our DCTU expert panel discussing the DC television universe, or television programs adapted from DC comic book properties that have morphed and expanded into that universe across shows and even across networks, though they're all on one now. In this 8th episode of our DCTU podcast series, we return to digest the second season of the Arrowverse's latest edition, Supergirl. Supergirl is an American superhero action-adventure drama television series, yes, all of that, developed by Ali Adler, Greg Berlanti, and Andrew Kreisberg, the latter two having previously created Arrow and the Flash. It is based on the DC Comics character Supergirl, or Kara Zor-El, created by Otto Binder and Al Plastino, and stars Melissa Benoist in the title role. Supergirl is a costume superheroine who is the cousin to Superman and one of the last surviving Kryptonians. In the second season, Kara and her allies deal with feuds between Earth's native populace and extraterrestrial community and investigate the shadowy organization Project Cadmus, masterminded by Lillian Luthor, played by Brenda Strong, mother of Superman's archenemy, Lex Luthor. At the same time, Kara becomes friendly with Lillian's daughter, Lena Luthor, played by Katie McGrath, the new CEO of Luthor Corp, and struggles with romantic feelings for recent Earth arrival Mon-El, played by Chris Wood, a survivor and prince from Krypton's neighboring planet Daxam. James Olsen, played by Mehcad Brooks, becomes the mass street-fighting vigilante guardian. Alex, played by Shyler Lee, begins dating Maggie Sawyer, played by Floriana Lima, and John Jones, played by David Harwood, befriends a young Martian, McGann, from the white Martian race that killed his people. Today, in the 8th episode of our DCTU series, our DCTU panel, Kyle, Hilary, Spencer, Kristen, and Nick, returns anew to focus specifically upon Season 2 of Supergirl. Before we get into the discussion, I'm going to take a moment to take the panel's temperature. As always, as we all know, sometimes a TV show can take turns for the better or the worse in our heads, or continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. As always, it should be noted that every single one of our panelists has viewed the entire show through the end of the 2nd season, and will likely discuss sensitive plot points. So, for those of you who are not caught up on Supergirl, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Well,
Wonderful.
Woo. Ready to talk about Supergirl Season 2?
Woohoo! Monel.
What? On specifically parts of it, I guess?
Monel.
what parts specifically?
I think she made it pretty clear.
I thought what parts of him specifically.
Oh, well, whole package.
He's
Oh, that one.
You're right about that.
You literally took a snow dive in.
That was like a
Yep.
So,
Moving on.
let's gauge your interest in the show nowadays. Now, of course, Nick joins us. This is his first time with the panel talking about Supergirl as a whole, because
Hi,
he joined
Nick.
with our mid-season.
Hi.
Hi! Before we do the character breakdown, do you want to tell us how you came to watch Supergirl, what made you start watching, what kept you watching, etc.?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Do it.
The same answer for DC Legends, so listen to that podcast.
Oh, tricky.
Nice.
Was it? Well, then, that was anticlimactic. How would you rate your interest in Supergirl following the end of Season 2?
Are you asking me?
Everybody.
It's not all about you, Nick. Jeez.
No, I see my name. Aw, he can read.
I don't even know what to say. Do you watch it because you love Supergirl? You love the character? You love the portrayal? You wish you were Supergirl? Or you love dressing up as Supergirl, like Kara Danvers, a.k.a. Supergirl?
Nope.
Do you watch... Please wait until...
Spencer secretly loves dressing up as Supergirl.
There are more options. Hopefully, this is going to be a loopy one, folks. Do you watch it because you were asked to do so by a good friend who has more than a passing knowledge of DC Comics and Superman, and found yourself loving the show or Supergirl herself in spite of yourself, and or because you are protective of the show's overall contribution to the DC Superman legacy, and you endeavor to be its guardian, like James Jimmy Olsen? Do you watch it because your sister watches it, and you're very protective of your sister, even though she's a badass like you have always been, and can make her own grown-up choices, like what to watch on TV? Plus, you want to be mutually supportive too, like Alex Danvers. Do you watch it because your significant other watches it, and you passionately support your significant other, for better or for worse, like Maggie Sawyer? Do you watch it because your best friend watches it, and you secretly or not so secretly love your best friend? Or you watch it as a guilty pleasure, or as a distraction, since your own life and secret identity are kind of messed up, like when shot? Do you watch it even though you think most of it is silly, and or you really only watch it for the Martian Manhunter, like John Jones, a.k.a. the Martian Manhunter? Or do you watch it to blend in with the crowd, disguising your own hidden secret identity of one who doesn't really care for most of it, though you might have slowly and reluctantly fallen for Supergirl ultimately, despite your better judgment? Is it really better judgment? Like Monel, who would like to start?
I'll start.
Oh boy! Hi, Kristen.
Hi. So, once again, I'm James, who's really Jimmy Olsen, because that's what I was last time.
It's true.
It's still, I watch it because you all watch it, and I like being on panels with you, so I've watched it. But I do really, really like it. And also, because I can't pick just one, I'm also going to pick Monel because he's pretty.
Kristen has all the hearts for Monel. Haven't picked up on it yet.
Yep. Talked about that in Legends too, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if that made
probably talk about it anytime you
I probably will. It'll probably come up in the Flash too. Just wait and see.
Just,
you know.
We're going
gonna
to
say.
shrine to him in a basement.
Shh.
I'll follow that up.
Oh.
Welcome back, Kristen.
Thank you.
I'll go next.
Oh.
I, strangely, am
You
the same
are?
as Kristen. I'm Spencer.
Hi, Spencer.
And I find myself feeling the Jimmy Olsen thing.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say the Monel thing. I was
No,
going to get really
definitely not
excited
the Monel
there for a
thing.
second.
No, I like the character
You don't
Monel,
think he's
but
pretty?
no. With regards to the show, though, I find myself feeling that Jimmy Olsen vibe. I like how it connects to the universe. I like everything that summation had in it fits this. It's the first time I've not picked two in a while.
I know.
But for the record, Spencer agreed with me for once.
Yeah, I know. I'm feeling like there's a tear in the
Universe?
space-time
Space-
continuum. I'm expecting
It's the legends.
Vibe to appear in the corner of the room at any moment.
Oh, wow. Crossed universe with that reference. Welcome back, Spencer.
Thank you.
I'll go next as my answer is similar to Kristen and Spencer, except for the Manel.
But who are you?
I don't know. Didn't I already say that?
He did.
That he's Nick?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, hi, Nick.
Just
Hi, Nick.
I'm still Nick.
Hi, Nick. Still Nick. But you gotta pick. Oh.
I did.
Oh,
He did.
you're
He said
James.
he's James Olsen as
Same
well.
as me.
You're
He also,
Kenny.
he also thinks Monel is pretty. Both
No,
of them.
yeah.
That's
I'm a
right.
pretty guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a pretty
See?
boy. Yeah.
Someone else is owning it. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Melissa thinks he's a pretty boy.
Welcome
I've seen
to
them
the
frolicking in the waves.
Are they still together?
This is off the rails.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Welcome to the panel, Nick, officially, for this one.
I'll go. I'm Hilary.
Hi, Hilary.
Hi! I will say I'm also a little bit of James because I like the connectivity to the rest of the shows, but I'm going to say I'm still pretty Kara. I said that before. I just love her.
You're a pretty
like-
Kara?
No. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
I'm
are
pretty
a
much
pretty Kara.
still like Kara. I think that's what I said last time. I don't know. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. Yeah, I just like her portrayal. I really enjoy the show. I don't know if I enjoyed the second season as much as the first season, though.
What?
I actually thought the second season was better.
Me
Really?
too.
Hold on, there's more
Okay.
people.
It's not...
She just dropped it.
Maybe it's because I focus on certain aspects, but we can talk about that. But either way, I still love Supergirl. All of it. Okay, continue.
Welcome back, Hillary. Hillary, who are you?
Oh,
The Hillary disclaimer brought to you by
yes.
Hilary.
So, okay, Kyle can do it.
I'm good.
Okay, so Kyle's going to talk, and he's my husband, and the moderator's my sister.
Just in case we fight, which they already started.
Next.
Now you spoiled that I'm going to talk.
That's your fault.
You're the
Spoiler alert!
you're the last one besides
There's plenty
Kylie.
of non-siblings fighting already. On
I know, right?
I'm Kyle.
Hi,
Kyle.
My answer is similar to everyone else's. Jimmy Olsen, based on that description. I love the Superman universe. It's the richest part of DC, so I've seen where this falls and how it's bringing in everything.
No.
People are judging you.
Well, I mean, other than Batman. I mean, it's like
Thank you.
50-50.
I was going to say,
I'd also throw in some of the John.
I'm actually
because
shocked you said that, because that's the first time I've ever heard you say that. Maybe you just lost your
they're
words.
the cornerstones.
Okay, that's fine. That's
This
more
is why
acceptable.
we do dynamics.
I'd also throw John in there because I love Martian Manhunter, and he always gets kind of shortchanged in every iteration. So I like that they made him such a big character of this show.
And you think this show is mostly silly?
Not really.
That's
But-
part of his description this time.
But part of this
The
description
way you
is
write
also
it,
you're
though, you have to
invested.
pick and choose parts
And
sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, it says and or.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, burn.
Boom.
First part,
Not second.
Podcast lawyers have spoken?
That's right. Accept it.
And they bill by the hour, so let's
Was that it?
Were you
Kyle?
that was it, yeah.
Oh, welcome back.
So you hate
Hey.
Batman, you love Superman. Got it.
No, I love them both, but
But he really loves Superman.
He just lost his words. No, he does like Batman just as much. All right, continue.
And I'm Kylie, and I'm moderating the circus today. And last time I was Supergirl, and this time I'm still going to be Supergirl, but also a little Jimmy. Just because I have mixed feelings as well.
It's like
Jimmy
we have.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, I run this podcast, I can pick multiples. Supergirl.
I always pick multiples.
That's true.
funny, when we started picking multiples, we got yelled at.
I know.
By
It's
him,
like-
by him.
No, you did too.
I
There
never
has been
yell at
multiple.
anyone.
I think there's somewhere.
I think
in a
we converted her
podcast.
to it.
Yeah.
That's right. It's the only way to do it sometimes.
I've done
Yeah.
it before, though, but mostly I'm Supergirl. I really do enjoy this show. This one is my second favorite of the 4 Arrowverse shows right now. And that's just because I do enjoy, as Hilary said, I love Melissa as Supergirl. I think she redeems the show a lot. Sometimes the episodes are a little clunky. We'll talk about that, but mostly it's just fun. And it is part
It's
of the
fun.
Superman universe. And Superman, Supergirl, Batman, those are like my people in the comics. not really in the comics.
Those are
Mostly
my
just in the
peeps.
things. So I'm very at home with this particular plot setting. Welcome back to everybody! Hooray! We're here to talk about Supergirl Season 2. We've already had some hints about how you felt about it, but now you get to expound on those hints. So all that stuff you were trying to do earlier, do it now. Go.
Season 2 is better than Season 1. There, I said it.
Agreed. Hilary, you can leave.
It's my house!
I think they added some depth in season 2, which is what made it better, because you'd already got the backstory from season 1, so there was a little bit more meat on the bone.
I just think I focus on certain things that bothered me.
Overall, I
Like
liked
what?
it more, but the
But
whole
there's also good things.
end season villain felt repetitive to season
Yes,
1.
I didn't like Rhea that much. Sorry, Terry Hatcher. I know they love to bring all of the past Superman actors into the show, which is super fun, but she's been like my least favorite. It's super fun. Wink, wink. But she has been like my least favorite part added to it. I just thought it was... I thought that
It felt the same
it was a little
it felt the same
forced.
as last year's finale. But
Yeah, I can see that.
the added bonus of the Superman being involved.
And
Yes, but he's wonderful.
Yes, he was such a high point of this season.
She has hearts for Manel. I really like that actor who's playing Superman.
So Tyler Hoechlin, who's best known for his
Adorbs.
role on Teen Wolf, was cast to play Superman.
He was
because
great.
It was
Apparently
good.
Warner
It was really
Brothers
good.
let go of that gag order a little bit.
No, it was nice.
I
It was nice
love
to see. It was
him
good
as
to
Superman.
show.
I
Yeah.
think he's excellent.
What I really enjoyed about the way they did it, though, is he did not overshadow her at all.
No.
And that was always the fear of bringing Superman into the Supergirl show, is that once he's there, he would overshadow her and kind of take away her power, but
And
they
wrote-
really
Well, they-
handled
yeah,
it
they
very
worked it
well.
into-
So she was Earth's champion, right? Is that how they worded it? She bought him fair, or beat him fair and square, so she was able to represent Earth in the fight with, was it Rhea? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the whole
kind
thing.
of,
He even
sort
said
of,
she beat me. She has to do this challenge.
Well, I think that he encouraged that because she beat him. Of course, he was under Silver Kryptonite.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
made it so
they made
that
it-
his being beaten by her wasn't against the way it would go if they were both on an even
Right.
standard.
He
So they
wasn't at
weakened
his
him to
full
allow it to happen.
Superman-ness, and he thought he was fighting General Zod, which was fun. I liked that.
But don't
Yes.
you think he would have fought harder against General Zod than he would have against, like he would have pulled punches if he knew it was Kara?
Well, they wouldn't have fought, though, if
You
they
get,
knew
into,
it was her.
you get into the mythos of Superman, he never fights his full power.
No, ever.
And Kryptonite always does weird things to him, no matter what color it is. It can sap his strength even as it's doing other things.
Bringing
to
in
him.
different coloured kryptonite was a cool thing, too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
Silver's
that.
Enjoyed that as well.
new-ish.
Yeah, because we had the red before. Or was the red in this season?
Red was
It all
last
kind of
season. The
runs
red
together.
kryptonite's been a thing for a long
I know,
time.
I know, but it was just
Oh,
they already
Silver
brought that in,
new
and then
to-
Silver.
Silver's not brand.
It's
not
in the comics.
brand.
It is.
I mean, especially in like the
It was used to
60s,
show.
they had all kinds.
They had gold kryptonite in Smallville, I think.
Yeah.
They did.
Turned
and
Clark into like an egomaniac.
Yeah.
which was
somebody
really cool.
had blue for a minute on Smallville, I thought. I don't remember what
So
they did.
but it was nice to see them not overdo it with
Yeah.
Superman, which was
Well,
always a danger.
And I think what most iterations of Superman miss is they overplay his powers and his strengths, but a lot of appeal for him is like he's so human, even though he has all these godlike powers. He is like an everyday man. And
Yeah, he's more like Clark
They
than
focused
he
on
is.
that, and then to me, that's what Superman is. Like he's just a good
Well, they
guy.
really balance each other very well.
They have great
And
chemistry.
they do. And, like, I just like the way that he's still giving her space. Like, they wrote that very well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for you, but you've got this. You don't necessarily need me. You've got...
Part of the clever writing
Yeah.
there as well was having the conflict between Superman and John Jones.
Right.
Or John Jones. By doing that,
Yeah, that...
because
yeah.
if they were already friends, John would go to Superman because naturally he's the more powerful of the two. He's got the experience and everything. So by putting them in conflict, it made that flow much better, which was clever writing.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Tyler strikes the balance on Clark and Superman. I think the past, we can't really include Tom Welling because he didn't have a chance to be Superman, but the past couple of examples, Dean Cain included and Henry Cavill included, I don't think they've struck the balance quite as well.
No. It just goes to show you, though, how well casting it, because he's only been in a few episodes, and to me, he's pretty high up there, and I don't want to freak people out by saying he's the best, because I know some people will go, "Ah!" But he's pretty high up there. I mean, other than Chris,
for the way in which he was being used, I will agree with you.
Yes, for the way he's being used, yes.
And I agree, he was used in just the right proportion.
I don't think he would stand up as a standalone Superman.
Really?
I think he works
I think he could totally
as...
have his own show, personally.
It would remain to be seen.
I think he could be tough. I think he's capable of having his own show, but I like how they've built him in here. I agree with Spencer's remark here on that. I like the fact that he's not so overused that we can still look forward to him coming,
Right.
and that hopefully they'll find, although they did do kind of a Teen Wolf extra season, I'm hoping that they will find new and interesting ways to bring them together. Maybe she can go hang out in Metropolis for a while.
I wouldn't mind seeing her help.
Yeah, I'd like to
see Superman.
Yeah, I'd like to see her go to Metropolis and help him, rather than him keep coming to have to help her.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
maybe
one
see
of his
Jimmy
big
go back
villains.
and
Yeah.
see J. Jonah.
Wrong universe.
Yeah.
Really?
J.
That's
Jonah
very
Jameson's
white.
in...
I'm like, that's Spidey. That's okay, though.
Make it
Edit
look like
that out.
But then we could meet Lois if we go to Metropolis.
Yeah, we could.
Because we only met her younger sister.
Who hates Lois?
And Clark's scary friend that they mentioned a couple of times, Batman.
Oh, yeah. They've only mentioned him in side references.
That's so much fun, though, when they do that.
Yeah, I like that. It's really good writing.
Yeah.
This show does that very well. Not quite as well as The Flash, but it's in that same vein.
I mean, for coming into it, though, because it technically wasn't part of... I mean, it was separate. It was on a separate network. So for them to integrate it into everything else and do it the way that they're doing it, I think it's pretty successful so far.
And
that's
fun.
why I like season 2 a little bit.
Me
better,
too.
It's a little more cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Even if they're crossovers, Supergirl is the one that
Wasn't really there.
crossed
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Like
and then
the
they
last
didn't
5
use her
minutes.
that well when she was in The Flash and the Arrow episodes. She really wasn't in the Arrow version of the crossover.
No, only Arrow people. And people who started on Arrow were in that episode. But speaking of John Jones, lots of Manhunter development this season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
so are there
unusual.
Martians? I thought they were all dead.
White Martians, apparently.
White Martians wiped out the Green Martians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they
Yes.
said some. Maybe I just misheard
And
when I
because-
was watching.
and-
I thought there were more green ones. That
No,
they mentioned.
they were wiped out about like 200 years before that. Their lifespan was really long. So John came here like 150 years ago, the last of his kind. And the White Martians still exist, and like they're propagated. So he can't go back, because there's nothing for him to go back to.
But there's a group of white Martians that Megan is working with.
Yes.
That
Although
are
I
guilty,
was-
feel bad.
Green Martian sympathizers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Although there should be less. They make it sound like the entire planet of White Martians is still there, which is kind of weird. But in the comics, there's just like a few stragglers that remained.
But maybe, just maybe, there could be a hidden Green Martian here or there, but you're supposed to just believe that John is the last one. Which also brings up McGann.
I really like her.
I did too.
Okay.
I really liked her.
She grew on me. I didn't like her at first.
I
Yeah,
didn't like her at
her
first
first,
sight.
yeah.
Not your typical Miss Martian.
No.
No.
No, by the end I really enjoyed her though. She,
Are they trying to make them romantic, though?
I don't
I
think
feel
so.
like they are, and I feel like
feel
They're
like
hinting at it.
I felt
I feel like it's
I
a more
felt it was
father-daughter.
more father-daughter or brother-sister kind of relationship. I didn't catch a romantic notion.
I did at the end.
I did at the
I
end,
did too. And I wasn't
Yeah.
comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was too. I mean, oftentimes he's played as like almost uncle to niece or brother,
Yeah.
kind of brother sister-ish. Definitely much more familial relationship. Than
That's how I felt it most of the time. I do see what you guys mean about towards the end of the season, at the end where they kind of, it would be, no.
I mean, I agree, but I also picked up this vibe. Not talking about the character on The Flash.
There's wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, anymore.
My favorite character in the entire universe. Just because of all the pop culture references.
Yes. That's for the Flash podcast.
Well, he popped
He's
up
in,
into Supergirl.
yeah, he's in
Yeah.
5 minutes of
Yeah.
Supergirl.
He was
We're
in-
not talking about that episode yet.
We could.
Whoa!
So we're
Anyway.
done with Miss Martian?
Did they do much with her in
I-
the second half?
Not really.
No.
Because
Well,
it started
she was
focus-
off. She was off.
Yep.
Back on Mars with everybody.
But
She
she
went
came
back to
back
Crusade
to
on
Mars.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From-
we talked
Because
about
they
that.
still
Martian.
because they
We
still
talked
have that
about
psychic
that.
connection.
Yeah, we wonder how far that's going to go with him now having White Martian blood in him. That could really have some interesting
Side effects.
side effects. They could really exploit it. They could make it so it means that white Martians can't detect him as easily.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why maybe we don't have as much to say because it's still kind of developing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do we know if she's coming back for season 3?
I read somewhere that she picked up some show, but she was only recurring to begin with, so
I'm sure she'll pop up.
I'm sure she'll pop up. And she's
Well-
kind of one of those actresses that does that.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, with the way that the Martians cloak themselves on Earth, you could change actress and it not be a problem.
That's true.
You know, she left to go to Mars, and her technology, or whatever she uses to cloak, she had to change her appearance because
She was detected
whatever reason.
or something.
Yeah.
So they don't have to go with the same actress for that.
Well, there you go. So she could come into it more. I guess it just depends on where they're going to go with it.
So let's talk about the overarching kind of theme on this season, which began with Project Cadmus, but that was headed by Lillian Luther. And Lena, she's the adoptive daughter.
Yep, she was adopted.
In fact, we found out the revelation in this half season was that she was a product of Lionel and some other woman, which is why,
She's a half-C.
Lillian hates her so much. Basically, sort of, I guess. Maybe she loves her in the end.
I like Lillian Luther as a villain.
I actually like the female Luthers.
Yeah,
She's got
she was
that-
cold and calculating.
She's got that
I
Lex
liked it.
Luthor feel
She's
to
totally
her. You
got
can
that-
see where Lex gets it from
Yeah.
with the way
Yes.
that they've done the story.
Totally got that Melrose Place vibe going on.
What?
Wasn't she on?
No,
Wasn't she?
that's
Oh.
the different
She was on Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
She was the
Oh,
Desperate
it's
Housewife.
all the same.
But she
Yeah.
was
She was
the,
sorry.
She was
I
the
was not a
voice,
fan.
the
She was the
narrator.
dead one.
Alice, the dead one.
She was the
Yeah.
Yeah,
narrator
she
of
was
Love
that.
it. Jimmy. Sorry, listeners.
Brenda Strong.
You get edit
Brenda
that.
Yeah, I liked her. Really liked her.
Yeah, she was strong. She was very devious. She definitely is always working on her own agenda. It really did feel like a slightly older female Lex, and I did not have a problem with it at all.
I mean, I even like Lena Luthor.
I really
they
like-
could
I
have
like
taken her in the
Lena too.
obvious Lex
Villain way?
Yeah,
I
and
think I'd find that irritating if she was
Well,
a villain.
that's what I'm
I think
saying. I'd be
But
too.
I
But
like
they
that
could
you-
still do that
don't
because
know.
that's where Lex went
Right.
in Smallville.
They're
and it
starting
worked.
up and starting with a friendship aspect. They're close.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well, and we find out that Lena, in the right circumstances, very easily manipulated because Rhea manipulated her into building
Right.
Yeah.
what I'm going to call the Stargate of Supergirl.
And
Yeah,
let's not
essentially.
forget that Lena does not know that Kara is Supergirl.
Right.
Her finding that out at some point could be everything that turns her into the same kind of villain as Lex was.
And Lionel, I mean, he's nothing to sneeze at. Lillian is obviously very evil. We see her in this show, but every depiction of Lionel Luthor, he's just as ruthless as Lex as well. I mean, Lex really had no choice to become but a mad evil genius dude.
It's all genetics.
Yeah. So maybe Lena doesn't either, even though she's only half Luthor. I mean, really. But
That's what I'm
she's raised by
Environment.
both.
I mean, I was going to say she's
Yeah,
still
it's
raised in the
nature versus
environment.
nurture.
They brought her
Or
into the
both.
family when she was pretty young. At
Well,
least from what-
she has the same thing that went on with Lex and Lionel, where the parent that you should associate most closely with
Right.
treats you like crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, you've got the same dynamic there that goes
Yeah.
on with Lex and Lionel.
So how about Jimmy as Guardian? How do we...
Did that start this season?
Yes,
It
it
sure
did.
did.
No. I
It was
could-
like the 4th episode.
I could.
Jimmy one day decided he had to help too.
I think
so he
it's a
had
little
Lynn
lame.
build him a
I
suit.
don't like it.
Made
That's
it
one
seem
of the
too
things-
easy to be a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same problem I have with Arrow, where like somebody can train for a week and then like hold their own.
He
with an
trained for
arrow.
years.
But all his little arrows.
Yeah. Why does she need a posse?
Well, she's saying she doesn't.
She doesn't. He's out there being a vigilante.
Yeah.
Well, I
They
don't.
had a whole fight about that.
Right. It's ridiculous. I'm on her side.
It's just like they had that actor under contract, and they like after the first season they didn't know what to do with
Well,
it.
like he's
Well, I think
supposed
it's
to be
also-
in charge of Catco. So like,
I know, that's what
Like, why-
another
yeah.
problem.
like how is he off doing? Like how is he doing? That makes no sense.
I know.
It seemed a little forced.
It is
Yeah.
forced.
I think
It
just
is
everything they were going to do with him involved being... We don't spend that much time at Catco, and I think that's because Ally McBeal left. What's
Yeah,
her name?
Callista
Flockhart.
Flockhart.
Yeah.
I don't mind
I got-
that Ally McBeal left.
No.
I don't mind that either.
That's actually like one of my favourite parts of and why I like season 2 more is because she's not there.
Right, but
I
I'm
agree.
saying that's maybe why they forced Guardian sooner, is because they're doing less at Catco. Because they don't have that other
Yeah,
cast
it's like
member
they
there,
didn't
and they
know
already took Win from Catco.
But I like Win in the DEO, and I feel like every
I do
time
too.
we add Guardian to an episode, it just bloats it.
I don't know how
It's real
he's-
tedious.
Yeah, I also don't know how Win is working for DEO and then also going
Doing that. I'm
Right.
like, when does he sleep?
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, why wouldn't DEO know that? Well, I mean, I think eventually they do, but it just
It's
it
not the
doesn't make
strongest
sense.
storyline.
No.
And then you add the alien girlfriend, played by Catherine Howard, from
That-
the Tudors.
That was weird.
Yeah.
That came across as just
It
so
was
strange.
forced. It was a little forced.
And
It
she's
just-
real annoying.
She is
Yeah.
so annoying. I mean,
She
she's.
was annoying on the Tudors.
I mean, Catherine Howard's supposed to
is
be
the
annoying,
Tudors?
but
The Tudors about Henry VIII.
John Rhys Meyers.
Not tutors, Tudors.
Tudors.
Yeah, sorry, I
still
was
doesn't
very
explain
Midwestern there, but
I always make fun of her because on the promos for the Tudors, like her thing was always "Your Majesty" in the background. So like the whole time we were watching those episodes, I just kept doing that.
she was his youngest
Wasn't annoying
bride
at all.
and
Yeah.
No,
one of his
I just
quickest-
looked at you and went, oh dear.
Yeah.
This is a different podcast.
It is, and maybe one day we'll do it. She played his youngest bride in one of the most quickly beheaded ones.
She's had little parts. She's been in a lot of British movies and
Well,
things.
yeah, but now she's playing.
Where did
live
their
rock.
relationship end up?
They're still together,
They're-
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Together.
started off kind of
They
blanket.
just kind of dropped, like they're together, and then they just stopped showing her near the end.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
kinda
they had other
I-
things
that's
they
why
had to do.
I felt like I forgot something.
Because she was trying to con some stolen art or something.
Yeah.
and
But
help
then
her
she
brother.
like really kind of liked him.
And then
And
she
then
wanted
she
to
got-
help be a superhero.
then she got-
Yeah, she wanted to
Kidnapped
help
or
the team,
something.
which she doesn't need a freaking team.
Yeah.
And really, I think it was just to give Wynn something to do while Supergirl was flirting with Mon-El and they're dating in real life. So-
Totally hot.
I mean, I just think if they
Yeah.
want to give Win, like, they should just delve more into. I mean, his dad is like a classic Superman villain. Delve
Toy
more
Man.
into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually one of
The
the better
Toy Man.
episodes
It was.
of Supergirl in
got-
general was the
I-
Toy Man
yeah, that
episode.
was
Yeah.
really good.
And then I slapped myself and was like, oh, his name is Win
Shot.
Shot. And like, how did I not pick up on that?
Yeah.
Question
Yes.
for Kyle. Sorry, he knows things. So does Win ever turn evil in the comics? Like, does he ever follow in his dad's
Toy Man
footsteps?
is Winslow Shot, so when they said his name was Win Shot, I thought they were going to turn him into Toy Man.
Okay.
But then they introduced his father
father.
in an episode, so.
The character of Win that we have in the show Supergirl is not really
The comic
Doesn't
book.
really exist in
No.
the comic books now.
but his dad is.
Yeah.
His dad is like one of
Not
Superman's original villains.
So you have no idea what they're going to do with this character,
No.
Win.
Okay.
And I think having him be the good son of a villain and working for good and the way that he portrays the character works really well.
I just like him. He's such
Yeah.
a good character.
He's fun.
He's
I
well
like
written
him.
too.
He's very ducky-like. I say that again. I said that the last
yeah,
time.
that makes sense.
I like how his filter isn't always all there, so he says things and everyone looks at him, he's like, never mind.
I agree. He has potential, I guess, if they're going to keep the Guardian piece of it
Ugh.
in there. Maybe Wynn will move past tech sidekick in the background, but lose the girlfriend. I can't stand
Well, I
her.
liked Win more when he was like paired with Mon-El because they're so different. So
Yeah.
I didn't feel like
Yes.
I would have liked them to have explored that friendship more than him with
Like
Jimmy.
an odd couple. type
Yeah.
A
of
little
situation.
bromance.
I mean, the episode where they go out drinking is like probably one of my favorites of this season.
Yeah.
That is funny.
That is a lot of fun.
So Kristen, let's talk
Yay!
about Mon-El.
Who?
There's nothing. Moving on.
Aww.
He's just jealous.
One note after. Move on.
He's actually pretty controversial. I went into some comment forums about the Arrowverse, and some people don't like him at all.
Why?
Well,
Do they not like the storyline? Do
Yeah.
they feel like it's like maybe
They feel it's a combination of the storyline, but also just kind of ramrodding her into another relationship that ends up being this. I mean, he is over the top, but he was over the top. Chris Wood has done some other things on the CW, and he pretty much always plays over the top.
I feel like the character is not over the top for how they described the species, though.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
he's-
his
That's
station
true.
in the
Hercules
species.
Yeah.
and Lois Lane were way more over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
we'll get
No,
to that.
he played the egotistical, sleep around frat boy really well.
Secret Prince.
Yes, I did not like his character at first. I thought he was annoying and stupid.
you're
She
supposed
saw his
to?
ads.
Yeah. No, his face is pretty.
His face is
His
pretty.
face is pretty.
But how did we like them together? I mean, that was a huge chunk of the season.
Oh man, you could totally tell that they're also doing it off screen.
Yeah.
It totally added
There
to
were
it
times when sparks
Can
were
you?
flying.
so
You
much.
can't.
Are they?
Yes, they
Are you
They
really asking? Are you doing your like?
No, I don't know.
Well,
They
Just-
really they
just
Did
started
you say that already?
they started having it like
Well,
their own little affair thingy.
they did because
'Cause
she
she
was
was only
married.
separated.
She was married, and her now ex-husband guest starred on season 1.
Yeah, they were going to try to make him her husband a reoccurring character. He was Kat's son in season 1.
Yeah, and they kind of dated, like
They
on the
both-
show.
They met on Glee. They were both on Glee.
Yeah.
First, and now she's dating this one, and they're both on Supergirl. So clearly, she has a type. Though she
But
works
for the
on-
record, she was like 4 years older than the first guy. Like she was
Yeah.
28, he was 24. So
That was never going to work.
that wasn't gonna work anyway with their age difference. But
Nick is offended personally.
no, I know. But at that age,
But he's really that's younger. I mean, how long have you been at 10 years ish?
We've been married for 7 years, but we've been dating for 10.
yeah.
It's a different podcast.
I'm just saying,
The
you
life
got
of Nick.
offended. I was just trying to say that maybe the age has something to do with it.
I think it
like they
might.
weren't quite ready to be married yet.
Yeah.
I think they got married quickly. That was a lot.
So,
large part
Melissa,
of it.
we're
I
just
mean, they're
talking about your
celebrities.
lover.
I think that sums it up.
But going
That's
back
relevant to
yeah.
the podcast, not
But
Okay.
circling back, we're gonna circle back to Hilary and her saying you could totally tell that they were doing it on screen and off screen
Because you
of
can.
this.
The chemistry
Because
is
they
There's
are.
chemistry there for sure.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
I
I
like-
thought he was great.
Yeah.
He added a lot of levity to the whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of levity.
I actually like it better than her having her love interest in Jimmy
Yeah.
Yeah,
from
I
the
do.
first season.
And that
yes.
just
because it
never
makes more sense.
felt
I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
if anything, Monel being on there, in that space, she would have more to relate to with him and everything.
If they don't keep the Guardian storyline, what does Jimmy have?
I think that's the problem. Because they kind of wrote themselves.
He's
in
good-
the
Like,
way.
I
he's
don't
good
like
on
the
screen.
character.
Yeah, and
he's
I like
really
that
good on
actor.
screen.
but-
He is a good actor.
I don't know how believable it would be to have the DO hire him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
No,
I mean,
that
just
would be
why
What would
can't-
he do for them? Go out and take pictures?
I mean, his whole purpose.
And here's
I guess
the
they're moving
problem.
him up in the world.
Here's the problem. They've moved Jimmy Olsen, who is this incredible photographer in this universe, up to being in charge of this
Like
massive
billion-dollar
Media
corporation.
conglomerate. Yeah.
Why
And
can't
it
he
just-
just be her friend and be that photographer and still kind of have that element that he does in, Superman, but with her, instead of adding
And
the
they-
whole superhero aspect
Does she
to
still
it.
work for Catco?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
She's
does.
a
She's a
reporter.
reporter
She-
now.
She's just never there.
Well,
No.
Snapper fired her for
For
a
a
minute
minute,
because
yes.
she went off and tried to start her own blog when
Right.
she had
To get-
true confessions.
To get it out
And
there.
then she
Yeah,
had to,
the
that was part of
conspiracy.
her real life conflict, and then she had to learn her lesson, and then she came back to him and apologized and said that she understands where she went wrong and all that stuff.
So Snapper rehired her, played by Ian Gomez, who was on Felicity.
Which is
And
weird
the
that they
Duke
have
Harry,
they have like a 1930s newspaper editor type boss working for this magazine. Felt weird.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess, but it also feels true to the universe because
I mean,
I
I-
think he was supposed to be channeling Perry White.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very
Well, I mean, that
obvious
character
that that's
exists
the
in
case.
Superman.
Yeah.
He works for the planet. They just put him at this Catco magazine, which doesn't
They're
feel
just
right
trying
for
to
him.
blend it, Kyle. Calm down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, he keeps getting on her about, like, hard-hitting articles and truth, but it's like, you work for, like...
Yeah, you
But
hook
Cat
with
Grant's
Glamour.
like-
Yeah, you work for a glamour magazine.
I don't think it is a glamour.
No, it's not. It
magazine.
just
It's a
feels
news
like
magazine.
it.
Yeah, because Cat Grant
I
says
think they-
truth and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
they literally try to report different things for that magazine.
Yeah.
They've talked about that a few times.
I think they're trying to be Time with extra stuff.
Yes.
So, or Newsweek or something. So no more about Monel. What about Linda Carter?
That was really short.
I know. I guess there'll be more.
Well,
talked about
yeah,
him
because
enough
we
during
get to
the
the
Legends
season
podcast.
ending. We'll talk more about him.
Does
Yeah.
Kevin Sorbo have any ties to any other Superman franchise, or they just got Kevin Sorbo?
They
I
just
think
got
I think they
Kevin
also
Sorbo.
just like to do the whole nerd,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, not just the Superman,
Well,
but,
it
like,
wasn't Hercules on at the same time as Lois and Clark ish.
Kind of.
like
they
near the
kinda-
later
They kind of
years.
overlapped.
They
a
kind of
little bit.
overlap, so that kind
Hercules
of
started as
Bef-
Lois and Clark stopped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like right one ended, and then like that's like the wave of Xena and Hercules.
Yeah. So it's from that same early
Same
to
tape,
mid 90s era that a lot of
And they had the same feel to them.
Yeah, same
And
fan
Lois and
base.
Clark was a better show, so then you had to have Lois kill Hercules. It all wraps up beautifully.
What?
I don't have strong feelings about either of those shows.
Yeah, I'm in that boat.
I mean, I've watched both, but yes, and I agree, but that's not why I do.
No, I know.
So I made this question for later on in the talking points, but something I struggled with, they had two desperate housewives that never shared a scene. Lois and Clark never shared a scene. Lois and Ally McBeal and Wonder Woman did.
I'm really okay with that. I don't care.
I am too. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't care about Desperate Housewives as
Nope.
my mistake earlier in the podcast. If you leave
Right.
that in there.
It would have been,
I don't care.
It would have been
Yes.
really fun if Lois and Clark or Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain had a moment on screen where
That
they
would
see
have
each
been a little
other
more
and
fun.
just done one of those like
I think
you're familiar looks. And
I
then
think they're
carry
just
on.
saving it.
Yeah.
I hope, because, well, I mean, she's,
But I mean, anything's relative in a comic book type related thing.
I guess.
Hello,
People die all the
Arrow.
time.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
So don't even get me started.
Yeah, but
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
see that happening in the Supergirl universe.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I think
they
this
don't
is
seem
kind
to
of
have
a
the
one
mystical
and done.
side of the universe at all.
I don't
Yeah,
think we're
too.
going to see
Well,
her
just be happy that they made appearances.
I guess so.
again.
I enjoyed that, but I see what you're saying about having that opportunity to recognise some of that stuff and not, especially with the Easter eggy type stuff they like to do.
Was Dean Cain even in the episodes that she was in? Like, it
There
wasn't-
was one.
One.
Yeah.
Not very much.
But, but like I said, I'm okay with it. I think it would have been a little too
Yeah.
tongue-in-cheek, a little too like, haha, look what
Yeah,
we're
it's
doing.
one thing to have them in there as like
Yeah.
homages, but another thing if they're like looking at the camera, like winking.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I feel like they wink in other ways, so I guess that's where I was going with it, but that's okay.
I like they're more subtle. Like when we talked about Legends, we talked about they were like super kind of cheesemo sometimes. Supergirl just does a little taste of it sometimes. Doesn't need to be.
Doesn't
No,
have to be
too
the
much of a
Desperate
taste.
Housewives.
That's like swallowing it.
I disagree. What about? So we had some Superman / Supergirl villains come back. Live Wire came back. Mr.
Parasite was
Mizaplik-
really good.
Huh?
Parasite was really
Yeah,
good.
good.
Parasite.
Which one's Parasite?
The one that parasites the powers from whoever they're fighting.
Was in
It
the
starts
first
out like a
half of
little
the
parasite
season.
in the guy, and then he turns into the huge purple Hulk-like monster that
Yes,
absorbs
first
energy.
half of the season.
Seems like a year ago.
He forgot about that.
It's crazy. Mr. Mizaplik.
I just wanted it to be.
I really
Gilbert
enjoyed
Gottfried.
that. It's one of my favourite Superman villains, and how clever
Yeah.
it was. It didn't work as well with Supergirl, but it was still really fun.
Yeah.
It was a very, very fun
I
episode.
mean, that's
I
just a
thought it
character
was
that's so
fun.
hard
Yeah.
to do,
Yeah.
and not just be like completely over the top ridiculous. But I think they did a good job.
I thought they did a good
Yeah.
job too.
I prefer him as a Superman villain, but they did a good job.
You're so lost.
I'm not lost.
Oh, okay.
That's the only villain I remember from the cartoon, and I just wanted Gilbert Gottfried to do it. again.
Yes, the voice of Gilbert Gottfried would have been perfect.
He's got troubles.
Yeah.
What kind of troubles?
Lots of
All kinds.
lawsuits and stuff.
Google it.
Well,
Wow.
Google
He's
Gilbert
like, I'm
Gottfried.
doing it
Yeah.
right
He said
now.
some offensive things.
Yeah.
He did.
He got fired from his Affleck gig.
That was
because of
like 2 years ago.
it. More
Yeah.
than
Still
that.
suffering from
That-
the after effects.
Really? His podcast is real popular.
People are
Well,
so
maybe as a
sensitive.
podcast.
People are very sensitive.
What about Cyborg Superman? Hank Henshaw.
I like Hank Henshaw,
The real
although I
Hank
still
Henshaw.
think it's weird that they're calling him Cyborg Superman since they took away a lot of his connection to Clark and Superman.
It's true.
Because in
And
the comics it makes
meantime,
more
they
sense.
augmented Jeremiah Danvers and made him kind of half of a cyborg.
Yeah,
Well, that's
that
what a lot
was-
of people were theorizing, that they were going to turn Dean Cain into Cyborg Superman. It was
'Cause
like
that would be awesome.
a switch of. I think that would. I think that'd be great.
I would.
Maybe they're
Yep.
going that way. He's still a cyborg, right?
Dean Cain?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Jeremiah
think so.
Danvers.
What did we see of that? I thought we just saw a little taste.
We saw him try to double cross at the DEO, then he tried to explain to Alex that he was doing it to protect the girls, but then there was some sort of conversation he had with Lillian where he was seemingly not quite so do-gooding as he tried to...
But I mean, from the cyborg aspect, I thought
His arm.
we just saw his arm.
Yeah.
Well, and something with Hank Henshaw's abilities, like he's like technical telepath. Like he can transfer into anything. So if, like, one body dies, he could transfer over into his cybernetics and take him over. I would imagine that's, if they were going to do that, that's how they would do it.
Maybe if David Harwood gets tired of playing two characters.
Because whenever we saw Cyborg Superman, Martian Manhunter was not around as much, or at least a couple of those episodes.
Too much split screening at that point.
Yeah.
Gets expensive.
Yeah.
We've lost Hilary.
I'm just trying to remember.
I thought you were looking up Gilbert Gottfried.
Do we want to talk about Alex and Maggie?
Ugh.
I don't like Maggie. She's annoying.
I just find that so forced.
Yeah.
It's so forced. I think Maggie in general as a character is super annoying.
I like
part
Alex.
of the things that bother.
Yeah.
I like.
I was like, she dragged down
Alex.
She dragged down Alex's whole storyline this season for me. She made her more whiny.
She's taking away from Alex's like badass qualities a little bit. And I get that she's transitioning and she's opening up to like her true self and stuff like that, but then Maggie's in the background constantly lecturing her about the right ways to do it and all this stuff, and then it turns out in the like towards the end of the season Maggie just like a giant hypocrite the whole time. I don't know. I felt like it took away from like all the overall stories. It didn't fit.
I found the episode where Maggie and Supergirl were at odds was more annoying.
Yeah.
Even though Maggie had like some points. Maybe you shouldn't just bust through a building once in a while and let us resolve it.
I mean, she has points sometimes, but I just feel like she's so preachy. She's so preachy like all of the time.
I agree with the preachiness aspect. I think there's a lot of, and I don't know if it's the way it's written or the way the actress is portraying her, but there is kind of a lot of self-righteousness about the character.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, self-righteous.
Because it took away from Alex, and I get it, and I think part of the reason is because they're trying to be open about their
LGBT.
And
LGBTQI plus,
IA plus.
Yeah.
Just the plus is good.
Yeah,
I think
plus
the actor who plays Wynn's sister came out in like real life, and because I read an article about that, and so they've tried to. They want to incorporate it more into the show. They want to draw in more people and understanding and everything. They're purposely doing it that way. I just felt like their relationship kind of bogged down the overall stories.
I agree.
Mostly just because it felt forced. It never seems natural. The two of them on the screen together do not appear to be naturally a couple.
I think I said in like our individual things, that happening with Alex kind of did come out of nowhere to begin with. There was nothing much leading up to it. It's just like, oh, she just realized that she may be having some lesbian feelings, right? Was it kind of quick in the first season, or
they like solved crimes together,
or in the beginning of the second season?
Oh, I'm gay now.
There was zero clues leading up to the reveal.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, I'm gay.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I mean, that happens in life, but watching it on screen.
I just think it could have been written. That part could have been written better. While a lot of things are written well, that part probably could have been written a little better.
I will agree that it bogged the show down. I mean, I think one of the reasons why Supergirl can be clunky at times is because of we said this the last time about the rom-com aspects. Before it was Devil Wears Prada, because Callista Flockhart was basically being the Meryl Streep in the equation. Now they've removed that, but we still have a bunch of different couplings that have happened. And a lot of those couplings, I mean, they focus on a lot, all three or all four of them, or the square or the love triangle, whatever it is, quite frequently. That's part of this show.
I think it's one of the problems that a lot of shows face is that they're so keyed in on trying to capture different demographics that they try and force romances into a show that doesn't need them. Just to try and capture that demographic, and that does seem to happen here.
It does.
Yeah. It's a little, is anecdotal like the right word? Like, I don't know. Just seems like it just gets added in awkwardly.
Awkwardly is probably right. So let's talk about the end of the season. The whole subject of this whole business. So Rhea manipulates Lena into this sort of surrogate mother-daughter relationship. They build this gigantic gate. I call it the Stargate because it looks like it. But it's basically a portal because Mon-El's a Daxamite. He's the prince of Daxam. Daxam and Krypton are enemy worlds. That's what we learn. And the Daxamites are basically, through Rhea, intent on taking over the Earth because they were misplaced when Krypton blew up.
Yeah,
so in
Krypton
other words,
blowing up,
the same plot as General Zod from Man of Steel and the same plot of Supergirl season 2 or season 1.
Yeah, mixed together. And so they build this gate and they get it to work, but the way, and of course Superman fights Supergirl and it's kind of exciting.
Lena's expecting one thing to happen, but really it's all a ruse so that the gate can open up for the Daxams to come through.
Exactly.
To come through.
And Rhea actually is trying to get Lena to marry Mon-El because she accepts her so much as her surrogate daughter.
Well, she feels like it'll help with their campaign of taking over Earth and making the humans subservient to the Daxamites.
Not to mention President Not Wonder Woman,
Woo!
played by Linda Carter,
Yes!
who is secretly
I like that.
an
Yeah.
alien.
Yes!
She should be
Even better.
president.
Yep, I'd vote for her.
So there's this whole standoff, and then of course Cat Grant comes back. Why, I don't know. She does. She
Contract,
apparently was on Air Force One at the time. So there's this whole business, and then, you know, the way they solve the problem is Lillian and Lena team up together, and they, with the nanobots that they were, that's a separate episode we didn't really cover, but they alter the nanobots so that the atmosphere will be poison enough for the Daxamites to drive them away.
What were they putting in the atmosphere?
Lead.
Isn't lead not so great for humans either?
But it was such a minuscule amount, it wouldn't affect
But they're
humans.
just always breathing it?
They said that about the water in Flint.
They did too. They had Lena Luthor explain it, that it wouldn't be harmful to humans because it's such a minuscule amount, but it makes the Daxamites not able to breathe the air on Earth.
I couldn't hop on board that train.
Which is why Mon-El
like
had
breathing
to
in lead.
leave.
But it was up to Kara. It was
matter how
Kara's
little.
decision. And she
Not
had to
great.
make this heartbreaking decision to save the world or keep her boyfriend. And she chose to save the world.
It was the right call.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, because he lived on that world. Like, wouldn't he have died anyway? Maybe. Ray
Well-
would have saved him. I don't know.
Rhea died. Didn't
Yeah.
Rhea die?
Yeah.
Spoiler?
Yeah, she did.
So he would have died. Apparently it only affects Daxamites and not Kryptonians. This amount of lead dispersed through
So,
nanobots.
What about all the
I was going to
others?
say, if it's just, as like, there's so much lead here, though.
The
Would it
Supergirl
be-
now
would it-
can't use her X-ray vision at all.
Well, I mean, like, what if Mon-El accidentally touched the lead pipe? If a tiny trace amount in the air kills them,
has to
then
be-
you'd think,
what
like,
if it has to
plumbing,
be- it has to
plumbing
be
would murder
aerosolized.
all of them.
He could have gone into a house that was painted in the 50s.
Yeah.
It has to be aerosolized for it to...
But because it's a
The
different
effect.
Earth, maybe they didn't have lead paint.
Oh.
But in the comics, they are that deathly allergic to lead. They can only come here on Earth anywhere in, like, spacesuits.
Oh.
That's why it makes more sense that there aren't more Daxamite supermen.
Running around.
Wow,
Yeah.
we are thinking real deep
Yeah.
into this.
Well, but okay. But that just plays into Nick's argument because they were never allergic and there is a lot of lead on Earth.
Yeah.
But on that Earth, we don't know.
You're saying that the
I
periodic
feel
table
like
might
Earth
be different?
23
Or the
is more
composition?
similar to our Earth than some of the other Earths
Their
in this
pop
universe.
culture is spot on. Like, is the same.
I mean, it's not quite so twisty as it is in The Flash.
Yeah.
So,
But
I don't know.
just saying, the goodbye between Kara and Mon-El
Was touching.
was very touching.
But he's coming back in the next season, right?
Is he?
I don't know. I guess I was asking. I said
Because
it in
his
a weird
pod
way.
got sucked into a wormhole. That's the
did.
last thing we saw.
He'll come.
So
Is that the last thing we
prediction,
see?
he's not going to end back up on Kara's Earth because Kara's Earth is full of lead. He's going to go to one of the alternate Earths, like where the Flash is.
And then they'll pull Kara over
And
there.
she'll be like, "Oh no, you're over here. I'm going to live here and have your babies."
That's
gonna
an
come there on
amazing
weekends.
plot.
That's my prediction. Mon-El is going to show up on the Earth that's not leaded.
She'll have a weekend condo on the non-leaded Earth.
Ah, Spencer. No other thoughts, eh?
Well,
You can just tell when Spencer's not as invested.
No.
Yeah.
You are so subtlety.
He's got his arms crossed.
Oh, I get it.
He's like
The
totally waiting.
listener might not.
We should seriously just record the gestures.
We need to get one of the cameras that they used in
Spence can't.
that
Just see
70s
looking
show.
down. So because
No,
like,
it's just so no. We need like a 6-sided camera so it can just capture all of us.
Maybe someday.
Multi-vision.
When we get the big bucks. So nothing else.
well, the last scene is
Mon-El gets sucked into the wormhole.
I just found the whole
No, that-
overbearing
what?
mother thing to be...
Oh, the revelation, the epilogue, that there is some other...
Baby.
Kryptonian.
There's a primitive Kryptonian that was sent way back.
Primitive Kryptonian. I didn't get that.
Oh, well, it's a character from the comics. That's
So
yeah.
you know a character.
Yeah.
But they said
You
the
don't
character's.
spoil it.
They said the character's name if you were paying attention.
What
I
was his
didn't.
name?
I missed it.
Well, what did
Well,
they say in the season? What'd they say, Kristen? It's not a spoiler if it was
It's not a
in
spoiler
it.
if it was in
No,
the
they think the last line when they were sending the baby off in the spaceship as Krypton was dying was, "It will rain."
His name is Rain?
Reign, Reign.
Yeah, like you will reign over the earth.
That's the name of the character.
It's Girl
I didn't
Doomsday.
Yeah,
Yeah, female Doomsday.
Girl Doomsday.
yeah.
Oh, that means they just twisted another one into Supergirl again.
Well, that's because
Just like-
She does exist in the comics,
Yeah,
but she's
it's
newer.
a
It's like
real
they wanted to give her somebody that's like that much more powerful, like how Superman has Doomsday, who's more powerful than him.
Right. Okay. Well, all right.
I'm
So
okay
when you
with
say
it.
Yeah, I'm
primitive
okay with that. I think it would be
Kryptonian,
interesting.
Less
to-
advanced.
now that she's had more
From their
experience
past.
being
Okay.
Supergirl.
Stronger,
So it was-
more abilities, but
most
not
of the
quite as...
storylines that they're
This one was
taking
set
to make
well
interesting
before.
Yes.
are Superman storylines.
In the comics, anyway, I don't think they established a time frame of when she was sent in the.
No, they did. It was.
they?
It was the same time that Kara and Superman were sent.
Oh, because in the
Yeah.
comics,
I
Reign
thought
was
it
sent
was-
thousands of years. Like she's much more
I
primitive.
thought they were sent at the same time.
Maybe it
From what
was
I
implied.
understand.
Maybe that's an unresolved question. What were you going to say?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Oh, no, it would be nice to see Supergirl fight somebody who has, obviously more power and ability, because we haven't, now that she's become more used to being Supergirl in her universe and all those things.
Well, I would just like the villain to not be some sort of evil queen-like person.
Right, that's what I'm
Because I
saying.
think that's repetitive.
And
Yeah.
did
kind
I
of like all the speedsters on the other show.
did I see
We'll get there,
that
man.
the casting for Reign is somebody from Smallville?
No,
they
that's
recast-
replacing the mother.
Yeah, Kara's mother is being played by Lois
Erica
Lane.
Durance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Laura Benatti's too busy doing Broadway to come
Ah.
back now, so they had to replace her.
And they are, because like Tom Welling said he'd be
That's
interested in like a
confusing,
small role too. So
I did see that
I
he
wouldn't-
said he'd be interested in coming
Shut
back
up.
as
They just
Superman
added him as a
in
regular
on the
Lucifer,
Flash
though.
though. He wants to be on the Flash, not on Supergirl.
Oh.
That's
I would
very
still
specific.
support that though.
Huh.
He
He-
said
is
he'd
he a
love to.
fan of
He'd
the
love to
Flash?
appear on the Flash in
Yeah.
some sort of capacity.
Like, did you see him in an
Cross them
interview?
over
Yeah, he's been
when it
doing
happens.
interviews.
Wow.
He follows the shows. He
Yeah.
follows.
And as far as being a regular on
Tom
Lucifer,
Welling.
they wanted him to do 10 episodes. He said, I won't do it unless I do 15. So he signed for 15 episodes, which is
He does
basically
what
the
he
majority of
wants.
the season.
That makes him a regular. That's why he gets a credit.
Yeah.
So where the season end, how did you feel about that whole ending piece?
The epilogue or the episode?
All of it.
Because I didn't need the epilogue. Like,
It
I'm
just,
of
it just
the
sets up
mindset.
season 3.
But I'm of the mindset if I enjoyed season 2,
You'll
gonna
come back
watch
anyway.
this.
You don't need the.
I'm almost more annoyed by something that they'll probably show again in the next episode.
I just think that they thought it worked really well with the whole Mon-El pod, that they just repeated it.
I don't think it did. I thought the ending of the season was a little anticlimactic
Mm-hmm.
also, except for the touching goodbye.
Yeah.
That was sad, but also
I
romantic.
mean, you know what's going to
confirmation.
happen. I mean,
Wasn't that
it's,
sad? I made a sandwich. I
You
didn't
would.
Was
I
it
didn't really.
a
I didn't really.
sandwich?
I wasn't invested in their relationship at all.
Oh, so you didn't feel the same connectivity.
I could tell that they had chemistry. I just wasn't invested in their relationship from a storyline perspective.
Yeah. Mon-El's never been a big character for me from the comics or anything, as much as I am in.
I
So
thought
many
he
other
played the
characters.
character well. I didn't mind the character, but there wasn't anything to get invested in.
oh, but there was
For
so
me as a
much to
viewer.
get invested in.
The
His
actor.
abs, his thighs, his
Mon-El
muscles.
as a character
Thighs.
gave Mon-El as a character gave Kara a really good chance at happiness. She was able to be Supergirl. She's able to do Catco, and she's able to have
Yeah, that
a
was-
stable relationship with
Yeah.
somebody who
Why
understands.
was
can't
what
she
it's
be
like to
happy as a
different.
strong,
But it-
independent woman?
But it, if
Yeah,
she,
I'm
if
offended.
But he connected with
Oh
her
my
on I'm
gosh.
not from here. They're both aliens. He gets
That's
her.
what I said. They relate
it
to
made
each
her-
He's
other.
making a
To each other.
legitimate counterpoint. people.
it is, but it made her character
You know,
less interesting.
maybe it's just because she's a female character that females kind
We
of
relate
have
to
more
her.
of a relate. Because that's why I feel like I relate the most to Kara Danvers more than a lot of the other
I know I
characters.
do.
Yeah, I know. Well, right, like because she has that legitimate quirkiness and awkwardness, and she's going through all of those same things. So that's probably why.
But Mon-El made her less interesting.
Really, because
That was one of the complaints and the controversy of the comment forums.
Does
was
Kara?
that
Yeah.
she was
Does Kara
made less
need a
interesting.
boyfriend? No, she doesn't.
that's-
She's completely stable on her own.
Yeah,
I think
I
the
just-
show is strong enough to not have to parallel a Lois Clark story.
Yeah.
So maybe they're
Yeah.
pandering too much to a female audience or something.
Possibly, and I think
It
that's
felt like
part
one of
the
those
complaint.
demographic grabs that I was talking about. It just
Okay,
it made
you
her
know what?
character
That's
less
fair. I'll
interesting.
give him.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of reviews I was reading, that's what their problem was, like, that would she fall for this kind of frat boy, pretty boy? Is that, like, really her type?
Well, I mean, that's happened a lot in TV show history, though, too.
Well, it's only her second major.
You see my point.
Right. It's only her second major flirtation. I mean, I think they have opportunity here in ways that they didn't have with Superman, because Superman sees Lois and hearts
Right,
for
love,
Superman.
love instantly.
Exactly. Whereas I think with Kara, she will experience what many women experience in this day and age, which is kind of having to find who will fit with her, because she's not the same as Superman.
She's going to have to keep swiping.
Possibly she might have to go on Alien Tinder, since aliens are a big part of this National City place.
Yeah,
They have a whole
they're
underground
everywhere.
society.
Yeah.
The DEO is doing a terrible job.
I know!
Worst organization
But
ever.
part of that is sanctioned by President Alien, not Wonder Woman, if you think about it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, the DEO not even realizing the president
Yeah,
was an
she's
alien
an
is a bit of a
alien.
problem.
There is that.
Yeah.
She's not. That's not constitutional.
Do you
Was it
like that
born
she's
on
an
her?
alien?
I don't know how I feel
What
about
kind
the
of
thing.
alien
I just think it would have. I think it would have just.
Reptilian?
Yeah, I
Right,
think it would have
she's
been more
scaly.
fun if she was just like Linda Carter president instead of having to add the alien aspect to her as well.
I mean, it's clearly a ham-fisted metaphor for the other, and
Right.
the Arrowverse has gotten a little political, which you can't totally blame them. A lot of TV shows do. But that's their answer to it, because she's an alien, so therefore she accepts all the aliens. That's the whole thing you're supposed to get off that character arc. So,
Like I get it, but there's lots of storylines that do that in just like maybe a better way.
less ham-fisted way?
Yes.
Yes. I said ham-fisted. I think that's a fair word. So, no, I agree. I wish they did more with the Wonder Woman reference. Is Kat back for good, do you think?
Nope.
No.
No, because of their
She'll
filming
just
on
keep
opposite.
coming in and out.
Do you think?
Why?
No, she said
Why?
she'll make
Well, now she has a
appearances on like.
She has a separate relationship with Supergirl, and she has a separate relationship with Kara.
I know,
Yeah.
except she knows they're the same
Except
person.
now.
She
Yeah.
does. But Kara hasn't
No.
told her, but she knows that.
They
No,
said
she
she's going to
didn't
make
know.
appearances, but she's never going to be like a regular. They're going to like film stuff for her in
She's
LA.
kind
Well,
of
maybe
become a
maybe
little
when
bit
Harrison's filming Indiana 6, 5,
She's
whatever.
kind of become kind of like that. Yeah, that older, wiser
Indiana
woman.
Jones
Kind
to
of.
nursing home years.
Pretty much.
Spencer's so done with this.
We're almost done. Settle down.
The funny thing about the show is, while we all really enjoy it, as we're digging deeper into it, we're finding all of its flaws, and they're really quite bothersome.
This is one of my problems with this podcast. We talk about shows until I don't know if I like them anymore.
I still like it.
Oh, I enjoy the show,
No.
and
Yeah.
I enjoy the episodes individually, but when we start analysing it, you do find that there are a lot of problems in the entire Arrowverse.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
for sure.
Even with The Flash, when you start digging into it, there are a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of very forced demographic grabbing storylines that are only there to appeal to, we want to get this group this week. And
They don't need
Legends
to.
is a much more enjoyable show if you don't think about what's
Yeah,
happening.
you just have
Yeah.
to take it at face
I
value.
think part of it,
No, you're right.
I think
You're right.
though that this is a side effect of all of these shows being on the CW, because that's what the CW does.
yeah,
That's
they're
their formula.
trying to hit those target audiences that CW generally has, and they also have to think
Just
about
kind
the
of
shows
back
that
off
are
it a
behind
little
them.
bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
You know?
rough because I think Netflix is handling the franchise that they're doing so well. I think the CW needs to keep what they were doing, what they started with Arrow. Fix Arrow or cancel it. I don't know.
Wow.
Oh, that's a little
That's
harsh.
for the Arrow podcast.
That
I'm with
escalated
you, Nick.
quickly.
I'm with you.
What I will say is that I don't think we ever pretended that at least Supergirl doesn't have flaws, but I
No.
think that
I just enjoy it for what it
it's
is.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
It is.
I mean, I know that some of the things aren't going to make 100% sense. I just kind of, in that regard, because it's kind of, at least, they don't pretend to be anything that they're not. I just kind of accept it. And, I go back to, I just really like Melissa Benoist, and I couldn't see anybody else right now playing Supergirl in that
No,
universe.
she's great.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic casting.
And I think that's what leads most of it for me.
I still want the backstory on the scar on her forehead.
Well, and also we are partially nerds, and part of the nerdy oeuvre. Some of us are all nerds. Part of the oeuvre of being a nerd is that we analyze, and so the nerdy demographic is going to respond this way because we know the Superman story, we know the villains, we know that they're borrowing liberally from that, we know that they're doing a lot of stuff to grab demographics, to quote you. So,
but they're literally doing it just to be fun. They're not trying to, offend anybody. They know that. I'm pretty sure they know that it's got a long history and a large fan
I
following.
don't see anything they're doing as offensive. I just feel that once we start putting some of this stuff under the microscope, it does.
It could just be improved.
It could be improved, and that's really the litmus test here. That's what we're here to talk about: is it working, or what could maybe be made
as far
better?
as the Arrowverse goes, it's in the top half.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it seems
I
like with
agree.
these shows, the third season is really the make or break weakness because they usually peak on the second season. So
Kind of true.
What's your top 2 shows of the Arrowverse?
Flash is number 1, and then
Are you kind of tied in the middle?
and then it kind of has a
See,
movement backwards and
there's
forwards
lots
in the
of gray
middle there.
areas. Man, I can't wait to talk about Arrow.
I'd put Supergirl above Arrow. easily.
Me as well.
Same.
If we're talking season by season or overall, like this depends if we're talking about the whole show of Arrow compared to the whole show of Supergirl or this most recent.
I think
season of
I'm
Supergirl.
always thinking of it overall
Yeah.
because you start someplace with a story just because it's split up into seasons.
I don't know if I remember season 1 of Arrow anymore though.
Season 1 was...
Season 1 of Arrow is fantastic.
It is
Yeah.
fantastic.
But it had to really fill a lot of people's expectations. It had a really high bar.
Stephen
Yeah, I
Amell
can't
carried so much weight with that, though. I feel like it's lessened the more they've expanded his world.
And
This
Melissa,
is the Arrow.
and that's the same problem that's happening, or has the potential to happen here in
Here's
Supergirl. Is
Yeah.
Melissa holds such a great, and as they keep trying to introduce new things, they'll go Guardian,
They just need to be
Or
careful.
Or Maggie.
or Maggie, or even Mon-El. It takes away from the strength of the character.
So what we're really possibly saying is that the main characters across the shows are all very well cast and do very well, and when they write around them, they do very well. But when they start adding supporting, and by I do mean adding supporting characters, it detracts.
Yeah.
When
There
the
we go.
when the worlds get too full.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah, we talked
would be
about
doing
that.
that one soon, but like Flash season 3, they started to throw weird new kinks in it.
Any wish list villains from Superman or anything, I guess, any DC Rogues Gallery for season 3 of Supergirl?
I don't think I know any.
I really want James
Since-
Marsters
I don't know
to
any
be on
villains,
Supergirl.
so-
Since they're not
That's
doing
Marvel.
him in the cinematic universe, Green Lantern. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like he'd fit so well. I mean, he's
Come on, man.
a intergalactic cop for aliens.
Hey, here's an idea. Why not make Mon-El going through that wormhole takes him to the Green Lantern Council, they give him a Green Lantern, and he comes back and be the Green Lantern in this universe.
Because that would be
He would
comic
be-
book accurate.
There you go.
But he would also be really
I mean,
good.
Daxamites end up being Green Lanterns.
You want to know what, though? Seriously, though, the actor would be really good to play him.
Yeah, well, then they can continue their relationship and they actually make him work better in the
And
universe.
the Green Lantern ring blocks the lead
Right.
effects for
Yeah,
Daxamites.
because he can have a really thin layer of Green
And
Lantern.
we'd have another founder for the Justice League on the Arrowverse.
I mean,
Mon-El
honestly, that would
Oh
be
my
the best
God.
way to use
We're
Mon-El.
writing
It
your
would.
shows for you people.
And that may well be what they do.
Maybe, because where is
Yeah,
he going to go?
that's true.
In the
Sorry.
black hole. He's going to go somewhere.
Hopefully.
So unless they broke up in real life and they hate each other now, that could be a way they go.
So you didn't
I
go
mean, I'm
rogue,
sure she-
you want another hero.
Yeah,
Any
I want Green
villains
Lantern.
you want to see?
Doomsday. If they're already going to do Superman villains,
Yeah.
I mean, I would have
I
them
feel
set
like-
up Rain and kind of do a switch. I would love that, but
And then bring Superman back over from Metropolis.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. Do it. I approve.
But the trouble is, once you've introduced Doomsday, that is the pinnacle of
That's
Superman
the big
villains. Once you've defeated anything after that is less.
see, well, I liked how Smallville did Doomsday. They did him in a couple seasons before the end, and I thought because it's like Doomsday, he gets more powerful the more times you encounter him. So in his first encounter, he's never going to be the same way from
Right.
Death of Superman.
It's a starting point.
Yeah, they don't have to take him from 0 to Doomsday
Right.
away.
Are you thinking of Batman vs Superman? Because that's kind of what happened there.
But that's
Yeah.
kind of how it was in the comic books.
I mean,
too.
even-
Doomsday
even,
turns up as full-on powered Doomsday.
Brainiac.
Fair enough.
Brainiac and Supergirl in the
Yeah.
comics have a more connected history than her with most of Superman's villain, so Brainiac would work too.
That's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah,
going to
Brainiac
say,
this
but no one
season.
was saying Brainiac.
I
so
would
was
love
just,
to bring not Laura Vandervoort, Indigo Brainiac, because that was their introduction last season,
Yeah.
but the real
Yeah,
Brainiac.
the actual Brainiac.
And the villain doesn't always have to be female, and they need to.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
need
that's
to.
true.
They need to work on that. Now,
Right, because the whole
Mixer
point,
did
if-
that to a point. but
going back to the
still,
whole strong female thing, it shouldn't just be that she's just fighting females. She can take on the males just as much as she can.
The problem they have there is anytime you show a man hitting a woman on screen, you're going to have problems in the society.
Yeah,
Where
but
we are
she's
right now,
Supergirl. I'm gonna give that a pass.
Well,
you
we
should.
would, but
Yeah.
there are
Well,
other
he
very
already
sensitive
have-
people out there that
Oh yeah,
would
there's
freak
people
out.
that would freeze frame that and then like blow it up and show it
And it would be
everywhere.
all over Twitter in 5 minutes.
That's a shame though. But he's probably not wrong.
Did we
He's
not
not
see
wrong.
Superman hitting her in this?
We did, but he thought she was General
Maybe
Zod.
it's
Or
okay,
did they
'cause-
only show him seeing General Zod? with
They
her?
No,
only
they showed both.
did they?
I mean, plus they're like family though.
It's okay if you hit
That's
family.
a weird insight into your family.
Wow!
Hillary.
That's why Kyle
We
flinched
did
it.
Whoa, this went off the rails again.
Yep.
It's only fun when it does that though.
Yeah, and it's always us when it does that.
Would you still, well, and by still I mean I would have to ask you for the first time, but for the rest of you, you all said that you recommended Supergirl. Do you still recommend Supergirl, or do you recommend it, period?
Yes.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
I'm more
I
likely to
recommend
recommend this than Legends, that's for sure.
Agreed.
I mean,
I would
she's-
recommend it.
Yeah.
I would still recommend this one very easily, especially to
Well,
comic book fans,
I mean,
but
like,
also to
I was gonna say
women.
everyone knows Superman. Everyone knows that universe, even the people who aren't super nerdy.
Like me.
He's very iconic. So, I mean, because they have obviously put so many aspects of that into the show. I mean,
Yeah, it's very accessible for
Yeah.
non-comic book people like myself. Like, I don't know any of the villains you guys were just naming. That's why I was kind of sitting over here in my little corner. But
she was learning though.
I'm learning. I'm taking notes. You guys are teaching me well in the way of the comic book universe. But you know, it's accessible for anybody. And even if they were to only watch Supergirl, I don't think they would be they wouldn't be lacking anything, even with the few crossovers.
Yeah, you
it's
still wouldn't
still
necessarily
acce-
need to watch the other.
Yeah,
You
even
wouldn't
when they
need
cross
to.
over, they
Yeah.
pull her, and it's more of the other show.
It's over there. This Supergirl can stand on its own if you
Mm-hmm.
only wanted to recommend one.
Yeah, it does. It away from the others, it really does stand on its own.
I mean, even like when it is something that's mythology heavy, they're really good at explaining it in like one line.
They do. They
Yeah,
set it up really well.
I've never gotten lost. I'm able to follow it really well.
So there you go. I agree with all of that.
Yes, we're gonna keep watching.
Yeah.
Or because you have to.
So I
Want
want
to.
to.
No, I want to.
Yeah.
I still want to. I don't see that changing anytime soon.
No.
With any of the shows, other than maybe Legends, which, if it doesn't find its feet in this season, it could very well disappear.
From time.
Well, I think that's what they even said in a recent news article that came out. I think maybe within the past week of recording this podcast, that it's at the jump the shark moment.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why they put it directly after Flash now because they're hoping it'll keep some of that viewership. They
Strong
won't
lead-in.
turn the channel after Flash.
Yeah, I think that's kind of hopeful though.
I mean,
It's
they also
usually a
announced
desperate
that
move.
Victor Garber will be since we recorded and published the Legends podcast, which was last Wednesday.
Yeah.
They've announced that Victor Garber will be leaving at the end of the season, and the reason
When your most seasoned actor is leaving, that's a bad sign.
Your
He's
most
leaving because
season,
he
in
wants to
addition
carry on
to-
doing go back
Broadway.
to Broadway.
Yeah.
he does.
Which he's going to rock at.
But this is also in addition to Arthur Darvill being dropped to recurring and Wentworth Miller being dropped to recurring. Those are your.
You're losing some of your strong people.
Yeah.
Which one's Wentworth Miller?
Captain
Captain
Cold.
Captain Cold.
Well, wasn't he made a series regular across all the Berlanti
He
shows?
has a contract where,
It's like
he has to
the
appear
girl
when
playing
they want him
Black
to.
Siren,
Yeah.
the Laurel
Katie
Lance.
Cassidy.
Thank you. Yeah, their contracts are across all 5
Same
shows.
with Neil McDonald for Damien Dark. He has a
Yeah.
contract for like 5 years across all the shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, that's the case, but they barely made use of Wentworth.
They
And
did.
When he does appear, I mean, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
Which I still think's weird. They kept saying this because of Prison Break, but Dominic Purcell was more of a main character
That's what I was
in
gonna
Prison Break.
say. It really was not.
And yet he was
because
No.
still in every episode.
that.
Yeah.
From what I read of Wentworth Miller, though, he has some personal issues that come up every now and then. Some sort of disorder that pulls him out of doing
That needs
things.
addressing. And
I know he has like depression, which is like mixed with some sort of medical condition. And
as long as he's getting the help he needs,
Mm-hmm.
that means he can keep coming back. So
Well, I hope so.
He lights
I
up the
love
screen every
Captain
time he
Cool.
appears.
Yeah,
does.
you're amazing, dude.
You're my favorite.
I mean, they just need him back on the Flash. Like him and Barry are like
Oh.
the perfect coupling.
Oh,
he's amazing, and he could be on
Total
any
bro
show.
frenemies. Anything else you'd like to say about Supergirl Season 2?
Bring Mon-El back, please and thank you. Hearts, hearts, hearts.
But not the same way he was there before, because it detracts from the Supergirl
Yes,
character.
and new and improved Mon-El. New and improved.
Quite possibly the Green Lantern.
New and improved.
Or Yellow Lantern? I just know there's
evil.
different colors.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Yellow
sure.
Lantern's evil.
That would be fantastic. Bring him back so that,
That
he
would-
has to
that would
fight
be
him all the
interesting.
time. It would make it interesting.
See? That's what
She'd
I
be
think
excited he
best.
comes back and then he starts like bank heists.
Let's establish the Green Lanterns first.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be a bit weird to bring in the Yellow Lanterns first.
We're adding way
That
too
would give you a
many.
reason to bring in the
We've
Green.
already
Yeah.
got Manhunter, the whole thing. Anything
Don't do
else?
with Supergirl what you've done with the other shows and overpopulate
Yes.
it with characters. That,
keep it tight.
less is more.
Less
You
is
don't
more.
need a team.
no.
They don't need a posse.
No.
They don't.
Occasional visits from Superman are fine by me.
Between Manhunter, Superman, and Kara, they should be able to cover anything.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Clark's scary friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers hasn't lifted that gag order because Gotham's on Fox.
Yeah, but Gotham's not Batman.
That's absolutely true.
Which is the Gotham podcast, which we already do. Anything
Listen
else you
to
wanted
it.
to say about Supergirl Season 2?
Melissa's doing a good job.
You've already said that.
You're right. I still like her costume.
So do I.
And on that note,
Fair
CPU was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us. Please do on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. Give us stars, comments, reviews. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. We can take it. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com. Via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com or via Facebook and Twitter. Though we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We have more new episodes coming down the pike. Our live episode at Grand Rapids Comic Con is this Saturday. Make sure you subscribe to the blog, tune into Facebook because we'll be live streaming, but any of our social media accounts, and stay up on new events and episodes. Old CPU episodes are everywhere via the web, directly at our website. If you want to catch up on Supergirl, Netflix has the exclusive streaming contract for the CW shows, and it is up there through season 2. New episodes are currently airing on the CW in their 3rd season. Until our next DCTU podcast, which in this particular series will be The Flash season 3, or until our next episode, new episodes are published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned.
Bye-bye.